Hello, I'm Simon from Simon Simple English, and today we're going to talk about some idioms, some idiomatic language. This is very good for your speaking and also your writing. It's a very good way to sound more natural and express yourself, and idioms are very useful if you're studying for Ielts. So, without further ado, let's get the ball rolling. The first idiom I'm going to tell you about is to let the cat out of the bag. To let the cat out of the bag. But what on earth does this mean? So imagine someone like my mother or my wife was going to give me a surprise birthday party. They're going to throw me a surprise birthday party. However, my sister accidentally tells me. So we could say that my sister let the cat out of the bag. So she let the cat out of the bag. So it means to tell somebody something that you shouldn't have, or to let somebody know something that you really shouldn't have. So if you have a surprise, but somebody spoils the surprise, they let the cat out of the bag. I wonder where this weird saying comes from. And then she let the cat out of the bag. Interesting phrase that. Comes from the days of the British Navy when Britannia used to rule the waves. And to discipline the sailors, they used to use a whip and whip them if they were bad or they broke the rules. And if the cat, because it was called the cat of nine tails, so the whip had nine pieces of rope on it, so it was called the cat of nine tails. If that came out of the bag, then the sailors used to say, "Oh no, somebody's let the cat out of the bag." The next idiomatic expression that we're going to discuss is to give somebody the cold shoulder. To give somebody the cold shoulder. But what on earth can that mean? I'll give you an example. So, I saw your friend Sylvia yesterday. I don't think she likes me very much. She gave me the cold shoulder. So your friend Sylvia gave me the cold shoulder. So what can this mean, the cold shoulder? Well, it's to be purposefully rude towards somebody, to be quite cold and not very friendly towards them. So that's what we mean by the cold shoulder. If someone is mean, or if they ignore you, or don't talk to you, or are a little bit rude, maybe they're giving you the cold shoulder. I wonder where such a weird expression comes from. And I saw her, and can you believe it? She gave me the cold shoulder. Yeah, the cold shoulder is an interesting phrase. This comes from days of old in England, when somebody used to come to call, somebody came round your house, it was customary, it was polite for you to give them something hot to eat. But if somebody who you did not like came to call, then often you'd give them some cold meat. And a good popular cold meat at the time was mutton, which was fine when hot, but when it was cold, it was very tough and very chewy and difficult to eat. So you didn't want the person to feel too welcome, so you would give them the cold shoulder of mutton. Interesting. Has anyone ever said to you, "Oh, I was just pulling your leg. I'm just pulling your leg"? Do you know what they mean? What does it mean? Well, I'll tell you. So if someone says something and then they say, "Oh, I'm just pulling your leg," it means they're joking. They're making a joke. So an example of this might be if my brother said to me, "Good news, I've won the lottery." Yeah. And then he says, "I was just pulling your leg." That means he's just joking. He didn't really win the lottery. But this is a strange expression, isn't it? Like, where did this come from? Can you think where it came from? I wonder. And I said to him, "I'm just pulling your leg." It's a weird phrase, isn't it? Pulling your leg means joking, but not originally. Originally, it was more sinister. Comes from early 19th century. And what robbers, so people that wanted to steal your things, what they used to do is they used to put a wire across the footpath. And then when you tripped over, they would rob you of your possessions. It's funny where these things come from, really, isn't it? These phrases. Have you ever heard somebody say, "This handbag cost an arm and a leg"? It cost an arm and a leg. What does that mean? Well, it means it's very expensive. So when people say it cost an arm and a leg, they mean that it cost a lot. An example of using an arm and a leg in a sentence might be, my new house cost a bomb, it cost a lot. You could say it cost an arm and a leg. I wonder why people use this weird and strange expression. So, I can tell you, it wasn't cheap, cost an arm and a leg. Interesting phrase that, arm and a leg. It actually comes from the First and Second World War, where many of the soldiers were injured in battle. So they came home, many of them losing their arms and their legs. And so people used to say this was a big price that they paid for their country. So it cost them an arm and a leg. I'm going to have to bite the bullet. I'm going to have to bite the bullet. What do I mean by this? Bite the bullet. Doesn't sound like a very good idea, does it? Well, if someone says, "I have to bite the bullet," it means they're going to have to do something that they've been putting off. They're going to have to do something that they don't want to do. So an example could be, I really should bite the bullet and go to the dentist. Maybe not the best example, as if you do bite the bullet, maybe the dentist has more work to do. But it means to do something that you don't want to do something that is painful to you. It's another nonsensical expression. Why would they say this? So I told him
Just bite the bullet and do it. Bite the bullet. But really, it's a bit of an absurd thing to say, actually, isn't it? What's it actually mean? So to bite the bullet comes from the First and the Second World War. And when the soldiers were injured and they were in pain, they didn't have any painkillers or anything like that. So they used to be given bullets to bite on to help them grin and bear the pain. So they would bite the bullet.
To be honest with you, today I'm feeling a little under the weather. I feel under the weather. What do I mean by this? Well, another way I could say it is I don't feel very good. I feel a little bit ill or a little bit unwell. So if you say under the weather, it means the same as ill, sick, or unwell. So an example would be, how's your mum? I heard she was feeling under the weather. It's a strange saying. I wonder where it comes from.
So, let me tell you, I was feeling rather under the weather. It's actually quite a weird thing to say, isn't it? Under the weather. I mean, we're all under the weather. It's up there, obviously. You know where this saying comes from? It comes from the days when there used to be like many sailing ships going around before we had these motorized ones, you know. And when it was very rough, very choppy, the sailors would get seasick sometimes. And so the best place for them to go when they felt seasick was below decks, under the weather rail. So in that way, they were under the weather, but it means under the weather rail. Strange.
So my last example is to spill the beans. What does it mean to spill the beans? Is it physically spill the beans? No. It means to tell someone a secret when you're not supposed to. To tell someone a secret. So an example would be, my sister Carly is very bad at keeping secrets. She always ends up spilling the beans. She always ends up spilling the beans. She always ends up telling the secret that she should not. It's a weird thing though, isn't it? To spill the beans. Where does it come from?
And then she spilt the beans. Spill the beans, yes. If I remember correctly, spill the beans. You know where this comes from? This comes from the days of ancient Greece. And they used to vote for things in ancient Greece. And how they would vote for things in their democracy would be to put a bean inside the helmet of the person they want to vote for. You know, the helmet, the hat. And then they would count the beans and they would have to spill the beans out of the helmet in order to put the helmet back on. So that's why they say, spill the beans.
Well, there we go. Very interesting idioms. There was one idiom that I didn't explain though. Did you spot it? Have a look at the video again. If you spot it, can you tell me in the comments below? I hope you like this video. I hope you find it useful. Good luck with your English journey. Thanks very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel and also press the like button, and more videos will follow soon. Nice to see you. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.